And looks like we're right at 4:15. So let's jump in and get started because this is the STLP Quick Shot Growing Great STLP Judges, a chance for us to really put a little bit of focus on how you as the STLP coach can encourage, locate, and find the right folks to help us as STLP judges. Happy that you're here. I appreciate you coming in for the quick shot. As you know, the way we do our STLP quick shots is we jump on, we give ourselves 20 minutes to hit a topic. We stay hyper focused on that topic, and then we get in and we get out because it's been a long day and you're either almost ready to walk out the door or your day is wrapping up. So this is a big topic. I appreciate you coming in here and participating. Let me go ahead. I'm going to start my timer, giving us 20 minutes to get started, and let's jump right into today's session. So first things first, got to introduce myself, say hi. Again, thanks for being here. My name's Jeff. I'm lucky enough to be giving myself the title of the Chief Enthusiast for STLP Kentucky across the state. We're also joined by Mr. Matt Cressline, who is helping man the Q&A. Matt is a recent add to the team. We're excited to have him as our assistant program manager. So you're going to have lots of opportunities to interact with Matt in the coming years. Great add to the team. We're really excited to have him out of Warren County, where he has a great history and experience with STLP. So welcome, Matt. Glad you're here. Please feel free to chime in anytime you have 2 cents to share from your perspective. But here's what we're going to hit in the next 20 minutes. We've got 4 topics. We're going to talk about this notion of the cost of admission for STLP events. We're going to talk about the role of the STLP judge. Then we're going to hit on who can, really probably who should be considered an STLP judge, and then some tips for who you could pick, who you might want to approach, who are the folks that end up being great STLP judges that we then can try and hold on to and grow into a legendary STLP judge over time as they participate. So jump right in, the cost of admission. You know that everything we do with STLP is free. K through 12, every student in Kentucky is welcome to participate in STLP. Every teacher is welcome to take advantage of any and every resource that we have available with STLP. It's all out there. It's free for everyone to use. To participate in our events, there's no admission fee. There's no membership fee for STLP. However, we do say that the one cost of admission is that if you're going to participate in an STLP competition area, your cost of admission is providing someone to be a judge. So what are those competition areas? Here's our STLP Big 3 competition areas. So you're probably pretty familiar with the idea of the STLP project. That's the project cycle that works throughout the year. Right about this time of year and the start of the school year, we're talking about the Level I and launching the projects. And then on December 6th this year, or December 6th is right, we'll have our Level 1 regionals where students will get online using the meeting platform and they will give a progress report about how they're doing so far this year with their project. What we need there for all of the nearly 1,000 projects that will get submitted, those students need to talk to a judge. And that judge will be someone that you sign up who can be online that morning, and they'll be assigned to a room and they'll be on a judge team. They'll hear the students and they'll provide feedback. Same thing with CDA, our Creative Digital Arts, formerly known as DPOJ, Digital Product Online Judging. But our CDA judges are really great because our CDA judges get to review student digital art that gets submitted. It's all online. They get to give feedback, once again, all online. And from all that, we'll be able to select our state champions for the creative digital arts categories using our volunteer judges. And if you have students who are entering for your school CDA, then you get to also include someone to be a judge. We'll talk about a little bit more about that. And then, of course, challenges. If you have students who want to come to the STLP State Championship, either as the level 3, level 2 projects, or if they're coming to take part in any of the live challenges. We have coding on demand, web design challenges, things that happen live at Central Bank Center in the spring as part of the STLP State Championship. If they can get a trophy for it, then we need you to help us find someone who can act as a volunteer judge for the day. Super straightforward. If you're going to take advantage of STLP resources, level up, all the free stuff that's on the website, but not compete, you don't have to worry about judges. If you do want to compete and you want to enter students in any of these competition categories, then that cost of admission is a judge. Pretty straightforward. I think a lot of folks get that. We know that it's challenging, but part of the reason why it's challenging is because our new judges don't totally understand what they're getting into. So you as an STLP coach are going to approach someone and you're going to have to, say, hey, listen, here's our situation. We've got these kids who are pumped and excited to be part of STLP. For us to compete, we need to provide a judge. And now you get to help explain to them what that role of the STLP judge is. Well, it's pretty straightforward. Our judges exist to give specific, meaningful, and kind feedback to K through 12 students. That's it. We provide rubrics, we provide scoring guides, we provide all the training that a judge will need in advance, sometimes just the day of the event, but the whole heart of what the STLP judge is takes what those students present, takes all the work that those students have done, and then provides that specific, meaningful, and kind feedback based on some guiding questions and principles that you'll find in the STLP rubrics and scoring guides. But that specific, kind, and meaningful feedback is what fuels our students to continue with their competitions, to look forward to next year, and to build their ideas into something a little bit better, a little bit stronger for the next year. So that specific, meaningful, and kind feedback is the heart of everything. So now you can kind of understand why we would dedicate an entire quick shot session to finding judges, because getting great judges is key to everything we do. If you provide a judge that isn't capable of, say, I don't know, being kind to a student, then that's a negative experience for the student, and that's not a learning experience that we want to provide for them. We're looking for judges who can act in ways that are helping to grow students, okay? So here's some of the things that we're talking about. When I say that we provide you as a judge with a framework to provide the feedback, this is a sample on the screen. One, you get to see the judges there intently engaging with the students, but here's an example that we've used for a couple of years, is a feedback report that we send to the students that participate. This is actually a project feedback report. So as we mentioned, the students get online for level 1 projects here in the fall, and they share their progress report and what their project is about. In advance, the students have the same rubric and scoring guides that the judges are going to use. So they can reference that for every category, for every challenge, every CDA, and every project. Students know in advance what judges are going to be looking for. And we also often have resources available for the students to prepare their responses for the judges, to give them some guiding framework to understand what are these principles that they need to address. Now, as the judge, this is the feedback form that you fill out and then goes back to the teams. Awesome, right? We make it as straightforward, as easy for them as possible. We don't want our judges who we know are volunteering on your behalf, who are taking essentially a day out of the classroom or dedicating time on a weekend if it's a CDA or after school, to have to work hard to figure out how to do the judging process. We take care of that for them and make it as easy as possible, but having that specific, meaningful, and kind demeanor of the judge is key to everything. Here is, for example, now this feedback, you just saw this feedback form here. Now here are the students, they get this, and this is a tangible thing for them. This is a tangible feedback that they take and they build on. And you can see the look on these students' faces, the pride they have. They got some great feedback. They're happy to know that they're moving on to the next level of the competition. So the judging is very impactful to students, and it means everything to them. It's way more than grades. This is them getting guidance from adults probably outside of their school that they've never met, and learning that they can trust that feedback from our STLP judges. And it's so important for them to have that sense of accomplishment or understand areas they need to grow. So it's definitely an opportunity to help our students expand upon their excitement and their knowledge of what they're doing, and also be thinking ahead to what the next phase is. So here's the big question, right? Who can be a judge? And this is really interesting because we've had a lot of people. This is the biggest question people ask me, like, who actually can be the judge? And it's interesting because I'm not entirely certain where the confusion comes from, because for years and years, the guidelines for STLP have been that our judges need to be current or retired educators, or someone in the education field, or someone who has a specific profession that is tied to the content that, for example, for creative digital arts, the digital photography category, a professional photographer makes a great judge for that category. Otherwise, we ask for them to be current and or retired educators, administrators, folks in the school system, because we need folks who can communicate and have experience of working with students in that kind, meaningful way that we're looking for with our judges. So a couple of things that you can really point out are that it is perfectly okay for you as an STLP coach in your school to also sign yourself up to be the judge if you have a way to cover the rest of your experiences. So when we think about those three big competitions, projects, CDA, and state challenges, the project portion, it's hard to sign yourself up as a judge for that, because you want to be with your students. You want to make sure that they're prepared to give their presentations. You want to make sure that if they make it to state, that they're physically where they need to be. And the judge responsibility kind of takes the majority of the morning and the day and pulls you away from the students. So for challenges, for projects, typically STLP groups will find an outside person, maybe another teacher, maybe it's the principal of the building, someone who is within the education system in your district or your school, to act as the judge to represent your school. Perfectly awesome, great. And as we said, we'll provide them with if they don't know anything about STLP, if they're not even super comfortable with technology, we'll make sure we get them where they need to be to give that the meaningful and kind feedback. Now, the good news is that if you are participating in the creative digital arts, that CDA challenges, that happens after hours. That can happen on your own time. So if you have 15 entries from your school, you can submit your own name to be the judge, and then you'll get an assignment to do on your own time after hours to review a list of CDA entries for a certain category and give your feedback and your scores and submit all that through a Google Classroom. So for CDA, keep in mind, for CDA, the STLP coach can list themselves as the judge. For projects and challenges at the state championship, chances are you're probably going to want to be with your students and find someone else to list as your judge. However, if you want to be the judge and you find a way to follow the guidelines provided by your school district to have chaperones in place with your students while you're doing the judging, awesome. Just know that the baseline is we're looking for current or retired educators or professionals specific to the field that they would be judging. That's who can be a judge. And before we get to that, a quick, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but people say, well, how about parents? How about if we get parents? And there's absolutely nothing. We love our parents, and we have nothing but respect for the parents. But if parents are your really only option, then the way that those parents could volunteer during one of those live events, whether it's projects or challenges, probably the better fit for them is to act as the chaperone with your students so you can be the judge. But then again, for creative digital arts, you can be the judge because it happens on your own time, planning period, after school, weekends. So that's an easy solution for that. Now, tips for picking the great judge. So that's the big question you're getting at. You're like, Jeff, I hear you. You're telling me we need a judge. We need somebody who is amazing, somebody who is awesome. It can't always be me. I'm going to have to find someone else. How on earth do I pull that off? Well, here are the things you're looking for. For picking that great judge, you're going to want to, number one, make sure that they're available. I can't tell you how many times we fill out the registration forms. I get the list of who you say is going to represent you as a judge. And then when I send information out to those judges, they're like, I don't have a clue what this person's talking about. What do you mean I'm a judge? So number one, before you submit someone's name to be a judge, it's really awesome if you touch base with them and make sure they're available for the date in question. The next thing coming up here is December 6th for our regional level 1 project judging. If you pick another person or colleague in your building to be the judge, double check with them that they're available that morning, and we'll we'll get them all the information they need. Now, demeanor with students of all ages is super important. We give our judges an opportunity as much as we can to say, hey, I'm super comfortable with elementary school. And so we try to filter them into situations where they're working with elementary school students. Same thing with high school, middle school, whatever that interest is, we do our best to make sure we get them that assignment. It doesn't always work that way. And sometimes we need to fill in behind the scenes and say, okay, I know you're comfortable with second graders, but I need you to go talk to these 10th graders, for example. It doesn't happen all the time, but having that's where that experience as a current or retired educator comes into play, because you don't make it very long in the education field if you're not comfortable interacting with students. And we all know what we're talking about, teacher mode. We've been there. Mama bear, Papa bear, we've done it. And so having that demeanor to work with students and desire to see them be successful is the key to everything. Expertise, as I mentioned before, tech expertise, not always super important. It's great if you have someone who's relatively comfortable around technology, but you don't have to be the expert. You don't have to be the expert in the field to be able to score students and give feedback, mostly because we provide you with a scoring guide, rubrics, and resources in advance, and we set the students up for success by giving them guiding questions, and they get to see the score guide and the rubric in advance, so they should come prepared. And it's a lot of filling in the blanks and connecting the 1, 2, 3s and the ABCs. Now, servant leadership versus it being a requirement. For us, it's always, everything about STLP is really kind of volunteer related, right? Like you're choosing what competitions to participate in. You might even be choosing whether or not STLP is something that your school participates in. And so choosing to require a judge means that you might send someone in who is there because it's compliance. Well, I have to be here. Ms. Johnson said that you guys have to have a judge and I'm here. That's not great. Versus someone who understands, yeah, I am here to give back to these students. They're giving my undivided attention for the next 2.5 hours. I'm going to listen to these teams of students. I'm going to give them honest, kind, meaningful feedback. And the big thing here is that you want to look for a judge as someone who understands the why of STLP. Why do we do it? And they can recognize that despite all of the trophies and awards and talks of championships, that STLP is about student growth and student demonstration of learning. And it's all the trophies and all the awards and the state championship is just smoke and mirrors to get kids to remain excited and engaged in the learning process. So having a judge that understands that STLP, they're not there to determine why students shouldn't get a trophy. They're there to help students be recognized for the growth that they're exhibiting and the learning that they're demonstrating. If they can get that why, then along with those 4 other main topics, you're hitting the jackpot with a great judge, and they're going to be someone who enjoys the judging process, doesn't see it as a chore, and looks forward to it every year. And hopefully a year from now we'll come to you and say, hey, I hope that you're doing STLP because I'd love to be a judge again. This is the why, right? This is why we do it. We want to see these children grow. We want to see them become the next level of student that they're meant to be, and we see them become great digital citizens, and to explore the areas of interest that they have is key to everything. That's the why. That's what we're here for. And if you have judges that can understand that, that's fantastic. Okay, boom, nailed it. That gets us right to the 20-minute mark. Again, here's my contact info. My name's Jeff. I'll stick around here for a little bit. If you have any questions, you want to drop them into the Q&A. Again, look for that little, looks like a speech bubble with a question mark in it. You can drop your questions in. I'll stick around to answer those for anyone, but please reach out. The big thing that you have to keep in mind, here's my last piece of advice so I don't go too far over. The big thing to keep in mind is start looking now and start probing to figure out who might be your judges. It's going to show up quick when you get to the registration and you get to that part right in the beginning that says, okay, please submit who your judge is going to be. And you don't get to go further with the registration if you don't have a name. So again, trust us. We will help them get over the finish line. We will help get them prepared. Your task in exchange for that is they don't have to do a lot of work in advance, as long as you do your due diligence to do your very best to find a judge that understands the why behind STLP. And we will continue to have this amazing program be able to move forward thanks to these volunteer folks who we cannot thank enough. Okay, wonderful. So I'll probably stop the recording there. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, drop them in the Q&A. We'll make sure they get answered. We'll stick around for a little bit. Matt, is there anything you can think of that I didn't hit, or anything you think we should add on here at the end?
The only thing I would throw in there would be tech department. If you're struggling to find somebody, your technology department or district DLCs might be a big help as judges as well.
Great call. Great call. Great call. Yep, absolutely. That tech department, and pretty much all of us have access somewhere, either in the school or district level, to digital learning coaches at this point. Yeah, that great resource to tap right there. Great call, Matt. There's Matt. He's live now. Hey, say hi, Matt. Well, listen, we're not seeing any more questions popping up right now. So thanks to everyone who joined us this afternoon. We'll be posting this up on YouTube here real quick. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us and send us an email, or yeah, we'll be seeing you real soon. Thanks, everybody.